Hello, good people. I saw recently in the Jewish press that there's a way to get a much greater quantity of protein from the agricultural land that we have right now if we would simply be concentrating on growing plant-based products. In other words, soy, potatoes, corn, wheat, all of those things instead of meat-based, animal-based livestock. If we would be concentrating on these plant-based crops, we would be able to feed 350 million more people than we're doing right now, which is just about the population of the United States. Anyway, let's take a look at this subject right now. Here we go. This is the article what we're talking about. Food waste from the Jewish press. Food waste. The biggest loss could be what you choose to put in your mouth. About a third of the food produced for human consumption is estimated to be lost or wasted globally. But the biggest waste, which is not included in that estimate, may be through dietary choices that result in the squandering of environmental resources. In a study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, PNAS, researchers at the Weizmann Institute of Science and their colleagues have now found a novel way to define and quantify this second type of wastage. The scientists have called it, quote, opportunity food loss, a term inspired by the opportunity cost, quote, opportunity cost concept in economics, which refers to the cost of choosing a particular alternative over better options. Opportunity food loss stems from using agricultural land to produce animal-based food. Instead, one minute. Opportunity. Here we go. Opportunity loss stems from using agricultural land to produce animal-based food instead of nutritionally comparable plant-based alternatives. The researchers report that in the United States alone, avoiding opportunity food loss, that is, replacing all animal-based items with edible crops for human consumption, would add enough food to feed 350 million additional people, or more than the total U.S. population, with the same land resources. Quote, our analysis has shown that favoring a plant-based diet can potentially yield more food than eliminating all the conventionally defined causes of food loss, says lead author Dr. Alon Shepon, who works in the lab of Professor Ron Milo in the Department of Plant and Environmental Sciences. The Weizmann researchers collaborated with Professor Gidon Eshel of Bard College in New York and Dr. Elad Noor of Zurich, Switzerland. The scientists compared the resources needed to produce 5 major categories of animal-based food: beef, pork, dairy, poultry, and eggs, with the resources required to grow edible crops of similar nutritional value in terms of protein, calories, and micronutrients. So, with the resources required to grow edible crops of similar nutritional value in terms of protein, calories, and micronutrients, they found that plant-based replacements could produce 2 to 20-fold more protein per acre. The most dramatic results were obtained for beef. The researchers compared it with a mix of crops: soy, potatoes, cane, sugar, peanuts, and garlic. that deliver a similar nutritional profile when taken together in the right proportions. The land area that could produce 100 grams of protein from these crops would yield only 4 grams of edible protein from beef. So in other words, that's 100 grams of protein for the plant-based crops versus 4 grams of edible protein from livestock, from beef. In other words, using agricultural land for producing beef instead of replacement crops results in an opportunity food loss of 96 grams, that is a loss of 96% per unit of land. This means that the potential gain from diverting agricultural land from beef to plant-based foods for human consumption would be enormous. The estimated losses from failing to replace other animal-based foods with nutritionally similar plant-based crops were also huge. 90% for pork, 75% for dairy, 50% for poultry, and 40% for eggs. Higher than all conventional food losses combined. Opportunity food loss must be taken into account if we want to make dietary choices enhancing global food security, Professor Milo says. Professor Ron Milo's research is supported by the Mary and Tom Beck Canadian Centre for Alternative Energy Research, which he heads. The Zuckerman STEM Leadership Program, Dana and Yossi Hollander, and the Larson Charitable Foundation. Professor Milo is the incumbent of the Charles and Louise Gartner Professorial Chair. So we see here that we're able to have a lot more protein, much more protein. It's almost 96 to 4. Let's say the land area that could produce 100 grams of protein from these crops would yield only 4 grams of edible protein from beef. So in other words, this would be a very good idea for people to start thinking about planting crops, plant-based crops instead of growing, livestock and things like that. And this would be very good to feed many people, hundreds of millions of people. So this is a great new thing. Okay, thank you very much. We hope to see you again. Take care.